First things first, I'm going to start with the local team, with the Miami Dolphins. I was there, and it was an electric game. And I guess you could say the Dolphins were on fire because, some idiot in the parking lot decides to not put out their grill all the way and caught 8 cars on fire. I was in the stands about on the complete opposite side from where it was happening with my girlfriend, and we're sitting there, and next thing you know, you see a huge cloud of black smoke start to not come over the stadium, but just trickle next to the stadium. It was really odd, and I'm sure everybody's seen the video over now, but 8 cars totaled due to that. But the Miami Dolphins took care of business. Tua finishing 23 of 33, 270 yards and a touchdown. Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert in the run game only finished with a combined 41 yards between the two of them. The running game still isn't quite up to standard what we'd like to see. However, the new man, Tyreek Hill, 8 catches, 94 yards, clearly was the difference maker between the two teams. Tyreek Hill being a Miami Dolphin is absolutely huge, and playmakers rule this league right now. Whether it be the receiving game, whether it be the running back game, you need playmakers. And the Miami Dolphins went out this last offseason and got them. We went out and got Tyreek Hill. We decided to franchise tag Mike Gesicki. We went and got the running backs Chase Evans, Raheem Mostert, got Cedric Wilson. Miami Dolphins took a look at the team last year, which let down a lot of time on the offensive side of things. The defense just as strong. Getting that defensive touchdown, Melvin Ingram picking it up for the scoop score after the Brandon Jones strip sack. The defense was just as strong as it's always been. We knew that coming into the game, that the defense was going to be there. Everybody returning from last year for the most part. Everybody that we wanted to return from last year returned. And they all showed out. Christian Wilkins had himself a great game. Ogba got in the backfield, getting himself a sack. Brandon Jones, of course, having the strip sack, allowing the touchdown. For Melvin Ingram on his first game as a Dolphin, getting in the end zone. Defense is there. Just question whether the offense was going to be there. And it was by no means perfect. We didn't see the offense quite live up to what we expected them to. We kind of hope it'd be a fireworks show, and it wasn't quite that. By no means was the offense a letdown because Tua did finish with 270 yards, and he was the biggest question mark going into the game. The offense definitely has room to improve, and it makes sense. You're looking at the first game in the Mike McDaniels regime, a whole lot of new pieces, a rotating door at offensive line yesterday. We saw Austin Jackson go down. We saw his backup go down. We then saw Terron Armstead leave the game at left tackle. So we saw a good 3 or 4 players on the offensive line had to be rotated out of the game at some point going on. But, no excuses. It wasn't perfect, but I'd rather be sitting here and calling a victory not perfect than to sit here and try to give excuses for a loss. And then you look on the other side for New England. I mean, I am going to give a little bit of excuses for their quarterback, Mac Jones, who I don't think is given really any opportunity to succeed this year. Last year, as a Dolphins fan, I was putting my heart on the table and trying to convince everybody that it was not Tua's fault. I did eventually pull back on that a little bit, and I'm not completely sold as Tua as the Dolphins franchise quarterback going forward. However, he did good enough yesterday to get the win. We have the playmakers that if you just get them the ball, you be efficient, you don't turn the ball over, we'll see winning games. And even though New England isn't by any means a Super Bowl threat this season, they're still New England. They're still coached by Belichick. They're still one of the greatest organizations in the league, top to bottom. You know they're going to show up and be prepared. But the offensive side of things is a legitimate issue for the Patriots. I would be concerned if I were Patriots fans. Curvin's one of our fellow FAU members, FAU Out Radio members, was on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was telling me the Patriots are going to win, and I kept trying to hammer home, like, bro, this is not the Patriots of old. This is not what you've seen with Tom Brady leading the way, with Randy Moss, with Gronkowski, with a solid defense on the other side that if you just give them a decent enough lead, they'll carry the rest of the way for you. No, this Patriots offense is horrible. Devontae Parker is really their best offensive weapon, and he is the worst wide receiver in the league of separating from his corner. And you also have Jacoby Myers on the other side, who I like, but I would like more as a 3 or 4 option on a really good team playing in the slot as a playmaker. You're playing him outside, trying to have him get jump balls. And, he did come down with the one deep pass for Mac Jones, but Mac Jones finishing 21 of 30. So he's efficient in his own realm, but finishing with 213 yards, had a touchdown, had an interception, which was the first drive of the game. Xavier Howard tipping the pass intended for Devontae Parker, fell perfectly into the hands of Javon Holland. Also had that strip sack where Melvin Ingram picks it up. The running game also just not there. Miami also didn't have the best of times, but New England didn't either. Total of 78 yards on the ground. Damian Harris, 48. Ramondre, 25. Mac Jones even tried to run it a little bit because he just has absolutely nothing he can do with the ball. Jacoby Myers finishing 4 catches, 55 yards. Kendrick Bourne, that one long shot down the sideline, 1 catch for 41 yards. Jonnu Smith, 3 for 33. Devontae Parker, 1 catch, 9 yards. There is no special in this Patriots offense. There is nobody on this Patriots offense that you feel confident that if they get the ball beyond 5 or 10 yards of line of scrimmage, that they're going to bust free and potentially take it to the house. There's nobody on the team that you're afraid of. Sitting there in the stands yesterday, once the Dolphins took a 2-score lead, I felt comfortable. And that wasn't because the Dolphins were lighting up the world. It's because the Patriots simply can't light up the world. Ty Montgomery gets the only touchdown there. I didn't even know he was still in the league. I saw him rolling into the end zone yesterday. I was wondering who it was. I was like, is that Slater? Who is that? I genuinely forgot Ty Montgomery is still in the league. And then he also signed for the Patriots. Completely forgot. There's nobody on that team that can do anything special. There's nobody on that team that can make a big play out of nothing, that can take the ball and make a few guys miss and house it for 20 yards, for 30 yards, for 40 yards, for 50 yards. Anything more than things close to the line of scrimmage, you can't expect this on a regular basis from this New England Patriots offense. Mac Jones, like I said, did have that one good throw down the sideline, which was perfectly placed. Got to give him credit for that. But that was the only play in the entire game where I sat in my seat like, oh, nice play. That was impressive. They don't have it this year. They don't have the men to compete with these offenses in the league. This is an offensive-driven league at this point. You can no longer say, oh, defense wins championships. Defense won't even get you to the playoffs at this point. Patriots, even on the defensive side of things, did look pretty weak. You can tell the where they're missing J.C. Jackson. We're missing Kyle Van Noy, just his leadership alone. They're missing quite a few guys that they've just let go over the years. And now you're left with scraps. And Belichick, yes, he's the greatest coach of all time, but he's not a magician. He can't just pull something out of a hat and make it work. There's nobody in the receiving game. There's nobody in the running game. Your quarterback is the textbook definition of a pocket passer. There's no electricity. There's no flair. There's no special. And I really think the Patriots are in tune for a disappointing season. I have them finishing outside the playoffs. I gave them an 8-9 record, but just based off yesterday's performance, that might even be generous, and they might be fighting with the Jets for the 3rd spot in the division. Now, it's a long season. Something that Mike McDaniel pointed out before the game this week, that either we won the Super Bowl or we're trash. Either way, there's week 2. And either way, there is week 2. And if anybody knows that best, that is Belichick. On to Tampa, on to Carolina, on to the Jets. That is just a reoccurring broken record statement by Bill Belichick. So if there's anybody that knows how to recover from a poor performance, it is Bill Belichick, and it is these Patriots. But unless he has somebody hidden that he's going to show to be the next star wide receiver, star special teams player, star something, this New England Patriots team is set for a long season, and it is going to be a rude awakening for Patriots fans that they're just like us. You're just like us. As Dolphins fans, we've had to deal with a lot of crap and a lot of poor performances and a lot of, some things I can say that's just not safe for this airspace. But Patriots, it's a welcoming call for the rest of the league. It's like, hey, you guys, it's your turn to suck. It's your turn to see what it looks like when your offense stinks, your defense stinks. And I don't think Bill Belichick's the type of guy to be able to think quickly on the spot and create this new sort of offense. He's been running the same thing for as long as most of us listening to this have been alive. Bill Belichick has not changed up what he's done. He had Cam Newton for all of 10 minutes. Even then, he didn't really know what to do with him. He tried turning Cam Newton into a pocket passer, and Cam Newton is the last guy who I'd want to turn into a pocket passer. He's a worse version of Josh Allen. He's less accurate. all over the field. He's less accurate. He's less accurate downfield. He's less accurate in the intermediate. He's less accurate close to the line of scrimmage. And Bill Belichick tried turning him into that, and obviously that didn't work. Him being cut after one season for Mac Jones to take over and start as the quarterback for the Patriots. Patriots are in for a rough season this year. Miami Dolphins, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for how this season's going to go. The litmus test is for us has always been the Patriots, and at home, we've seen quite a lot of success. And hey, Tua haters, Tua has not lost to Bill Belichick. Tua has not lost to Bill Belichick in 3 seasons. I'm just saying, he's doing something right. 207 yards and a touchdown. You saw some of those quarterback performances yesterday. You saw how Joe Burrow looked yesterday. Joe Burrow is obviously better than Tua. By no means am I trying to say otherwise. You saw how Joe Burrow looked yesterday. You saw how much of a struggle it was for Trevor Lawrence last year to have anything positive. Tua is not a perfect quarterback. He does not have a lot of wow in him other than accuracy, which I kind of say is the bare minimum. And we are kind of paying $30 million for Tyreek Hill to be his spokesperson and just brag about him to the rest of the league. But he had a few bad throws. He had like 1 or 2 meme-worthy throws. But 207 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, no fumbles. Only sacked a couple times behind a bad and rotating offensive line. Tyreek Hill getting into things. Jalen Waddle had that long touchdown. Gesicki, I'm sorry. Gesicki's not going to be on this team next year. There is not a role for Mike Gesicki on this offense. He had, I believe, 1 catch. I already put away my Dolphins notes. I believe he only had 1 catch yesterday for like 2 yards. Durham Smythe, I have a bigger belief in moving forward with this offense that Durham Smythe is going to be more of a key contributor based on the fact that he performs very well in the run game and the blocking aspect of things. But then he got I think a 15-yard, 20-yard completion yesterday. Nearly fumbled it, but he didn't. So there's that. He looks to be a bigger contributor in this offense than Mike Gesicki does. So I don't think Mike Gesicki is going to be with the team beyond this season, but the newcomers, most of them are all impressed. Tyreek Hill, of course, the X factor. Give him the ball. He's going to make something happen. Didn't get in the end zone, but mossing one of the Patriots corners, just making something out of nothing. Took a wide receiver screen up for 15 or 20 yards, finishing 8 catches, 94 yards. Adding to what we already had in Jalen Waddle, bringing also in Cedric Wilson. He did his job. Nothing wrong. Nothing great. Cedric Wilson did his job. Had a few catches. Made some plays after the catch. Running game, definitely still a concern. Definitely still a concern. And I believe is definitely on the offensive line because Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds at moments showed a little bit of special. Getting in spaces in between the tackles that we didn't see last year from Gaskin. Gaskin didn't even see the field. Ahmed was a scratch. No running back that got a touch last year was on the field yesterday. Not 1 carry continued over from last year into yesterday's game. Only guys who ran the ball yesterday were Tua, Edmonds, Mostert. I think we had a fullback dive by Alec Ingold. So not a single carry yesterday by returning running backs because I think Waddle also had a run. Running game definitely still a concern, finishing only 60 yards on the ground. That is something that's going to need to improve. Looking forward to next week, going up to Baltimore, the Ravens, and that is definitely going to spark a few headlines.